Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. I am on my dinner break as usual, so I thought I'd make a quick video. We have a fight at the weekend between Sonny Edwards, WEC flyweight champion. Is he flyweight champion or super flyweight? I forget now. Anyway, whatever the hell he is, he's in against Mohammed Wasim. I don't know much about Mohammed Wasim. I've seen bits and pieces of him, and he looks like a half decent fighter. This is a jump up for him, obviously. I would expect Edwards to win, probably on points. He's only got 4 stoppages in his, I think he's 18 wins, 4 stoppages. Doesn't have a lot of pop, but in his style, Edwards isn't particularly, doesn't lend itself to excitement. He calls himself Sunny Showtime Edwards. No, I've not seen any evidence that he's an arena filler, shall we say. And it's quite interesting because Edwards and his supporters in his camp would say, well, he boxes well. It's not that he's boring, it's just the people who like boxing don't appreciate what they're looking at. Well, I would dispute that, because if you go back a couple of weeks, we had one of the most majestic boxing displays I've seen in recent years from Chocolatito against Cesar Martinez, where he completely dominated a very live opponent, who was in his prime, a bit smaller, didn't have a lot of time to get ready, but nevertheless a very good fighter. And Chocolatito Gonzalez dominated him with a perfect display of how you lock together offense and defense, and you fight from the floorboards up, from the tips of your feet right up to the roof of your head. Beautiful display. But although he went through his entire repertoire of skills and he displayed boxing at its very best, it wasn't boring. He was going forward. He was trying to get to Martinez. He was trying to grind him down. Now that isn't boring at all, not to me. That's incredibly entertaining. I'm a boxing fan. I love boxing. I love the boxing skills. I love seeing people go through their sort of fistic toolbox and get all the right tools out at the right time. You know, again, the footwork was beautiful from Gonzalez. Always positioned himself, was never out of position. Beautiful, beautiful skills. 5 punches at the right time, the right punches at the right time. Now, if you compare that quote-unquote boxing display to some of Sonny Edwards' display, and this is not, I'm not slating Edwards in terms of his ability. I'm certainly slating him in terms of his entertainment value, and also I want to dispel this myth that people don't like Sonny Edwards because he just boxes, quote-unquote boxes. No. Compare Chocolatito's style, a beautiful offense-defense boxing display, to Sonny Edwards, what he does. Bounce up and down a lot of the time, uses the whole perimeter of the ring, doesn't really go on the offensive much, fires great counter punches, lots of jabbing, but basically moves. He's a mover. His boxing is all, jab and move. Stand there occasionally when you feel confident enough and let your punches go. But it's not that I wouldn't say it's entirely boring, but it's just not very exciting. I mean, yes, I can appreciate his skills, but I don't think it's, I reject the idea that just because he's a mover, just because he's a boxer, rather than a fighter or a slugger, people are put off by that. Boxing fans will always appreciate good boxing, but it has to be the right style of boxing. It has to be varied. It has to be interesting. You have to see a fighter showing all facets of the game. I don't think Edwards does that. I think it's repetitive. That's the word I'm looking for. It's repetitive. Chocolatito isn't repetitive. And of course, Chocolatito is an elite fighter. So perhaps I'm being unfair in comparing Edwards to him, but I do think it's night and day, the difference. Now, as far as Edwards' opponent is concerned, Mr. Wasim, I don't know much about him. I've seen bits and pieces. I can't really do a preview of the fight because I don't really know enough about Wasim. But from what I have seen, he's a competent boxer, has some skills. I don't see him giving Sonny Edwards many problems with Edwards' skills and industry and busyness. I just think Edwards will probably outpoint him. Again, Edwards only has 4 inside schedule wins. Doesn't go on the offensive much. He'll probably just box rings around him and win most of the rounds for a unanimous decision. So I'll go with that, Edwards on unanimous decision. But one other thing I wanted to mention about this fight is that I only became aware of it like a few days ago. And it made me realise, I mean, we're talking about a Frank Warren fighter here, Queensbury, on BT Sports. It made me realise that people have recently talked about Eddie Hearn and DAZN not being under the cosh, but kind of struggling a little bit because they don't have the old Sky Sports, Sky in general, platform to promote their fights. Whereas before they did, when Eddie and Matchroom were with Sky, they had that, that great news outlet to get the fights out there, to promote it, to sort of saturate the media and say, look, this fight is on, it's on Saturday, come watch it, boom, 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 boom. That's what DAZN has lacked, and that's why Eddie's cards, although the Matchroom cards have been pretty good, really, I mean, last week we had that incredible fight between Conlon and Wood, and what a brilliant fight that was. Everything that was great about boxing was contained within that marvellous fight, and you had some good undercard fights, but it wasn't got out there as much as it could have or perhaps should have done. And I think Eddie moving from Sky to DAZN is beginning to realise this, or has realised it already maybe, that the promotional side of things, perhaps he previously underrated it, and perhaps he kind of thought, well, I am the one that made boxing big on Sky Sports, ignoring the platform that he had. We all need bricks to build a house, don't we? As far as DAZN goes, I mean, again, I think they're very, very good cards. But if you look at BT, and BT you would think is a big platform, it has lots of outlets. It's, Frank Warren is always saying, well, more people watch BT cards than Sky cards. I don't know whether that's true or not. I don't think it is. But I didn't know about this Sonny Edwards fight until a few days ago. I mean, I kind of knew he was fighting, but I didn't know when. And it's not like, it's only when I saw a couple of interviews, I thought, oh, okay. Oh, that crept up on me. So I think BT's promotional platform seems to be very, very poor. And the cards, that I can't remember offhand the undercard, but you've got some debutantes, and you've got, was Avanesians fighting, but the way BT promote their events, they don't seem to be on the same planet as Sky. Sky really have got it down pat for getting their product, if you like, out there. DAZN haven't, and BT Sports are worse than DAZN as far as I can see. So I just thought that was a little interesting little aside. Maybe DAZN and BT Sports should steal Sky Sports ideas. But it might be hard to replicate. It's a costly business as well. There's no doubt, though, that DAZN want their money now. They've given Eddie £1 billion or whatever the hell it was, and the CEO of DAZN has bailed out Eddie to the tune of, there's another $4 billion involved in DAZN. I don't know whether that's all boxing. I don't think it is, but a percentage of it will be. But surely at some point DAZN are going to say, well, we want something for our money here. We're just throwing money away. What are we building? Are we building something? If you go back to when Sky started, and if you're my age, you're old enough to remember this, Rupert Murdoch, who his News International organisation, founded Sky Sports, founded Sky Sports, Sky News, everything. It was all just known as Sky because I used to subscribe to it. And it was a brand new idea, satellite telly. I won't tell you. It took a long while to take off, a long while. And Murdoch was taking the money he was making from his newspapers, which at one point he was spending about £1 million a day, plugging the money from his newspapers into this new concept called satellite television, which had been introduced in America but was not prevalent. It didn't exist actually in the UK. So he had to build it. And it cost him tens and tens of millions of pounds. This was going back to 1990. DAZN should have been building with their money, but have they built? Certainly in America, it doesn't seem to have worked. That concept of the app, the sort of Netflix equivalent for boxing, doesn't seem to have worked great. I don't know about over here. Frank Warren said that Box Nation have more subscribers than DAZN. I don't know whether that's true. I'm not convinced that's true. But yeah, for all I know, it could be true. I don't know. But I do know that DAZN has not taken off to the extent that they wanted it to. They're kind of behind schedule, if you like. So I think it's food for thought. And I think that, I actually think that you have to play the long game if you're DAZN. You have to play the long game. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the fight, the Sonny Edwards fight against Mohamed Wasim? Do you think it'll be any good? I think it'll be a rather pedestrian, repetitive points win for Edwards. And what do you think of the issue with promoting, actually getting your product out into the mainstream so that, you know, I mean, look at the Khan Brook fight, way past its sell-by date. Dreadful undercard, and yet it was more or less, you know, a pretty good pay-per-view success. So, you know, a stale main event, which didn't really deliver. I mean, it was all right. Dreadful undercard, and yet Sky made money on it, made a lot of money on it. Why? Because they've got that platform, that propaganda tool to get their product out there. DAZN don't have that. BT Sports are lousy at it, really bad. So let me know what you think. What do you think the answer is? Who do you think will be the last man standing? Sky, DAZN? I'm for all of them. I'm for boxing. So I want them all to succeed, because the more platforms they have, the more, you know, the more fighters get opportunities, the better it is for us fans. But let me know your opinion. I'm interested to know it. And thanks for listening to this video. Yeah, I know that I'll make a video on like a review of the Sonny Edwards fight. But in the meantime, we've got the weekend coming up. I hope you enjoy yourselves. If you're new to this channel, you could subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Be a big help. Maybe like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, sorry, but I still appreciate your time. Have a good weekend. Much love to all of you. Take care. Bye for now.